Today's going to be a little bit of a quicker episode. It's episode 126 of the Deep Dives. Destry's got stories, but other than that, I think we're going to go over some more stuff about what happened in between the two testaments. But it's very early on a Saturday morning, so we'll see how this goes. I'm not awake yet. I guess that's it for an intro.
Your intros. What's that girl that's on? She makes everybody feel uncomfortable, but she was on. She's known for that. She's real. She's young. She's got dark hair. She's really pretty, but she'll come on an interview. Everybody loves her because she makes everybody feel. She just has long pauses, and she'll just talk. Her name, Parks and Rec. She's on Parks and Rec.
Kirsty Nope is the character she played, isn't it? Oh, no. Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza.
Yes.
She is so good.
It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Your intros remind me of that. It's just like,
I don't know. Yeah. Whatever.
I guess.
Can we move on to the next thing?
Okay. There you go. That's good. All right. So I want to start by talking about Chet Atkins because that was one of your recommendations. And so my resources pretty much are YouTube, ChatGPT, and or anything online,
right?
And audiobooks, right? I think audiobooks is a resource that a lot of people don't use. I like using audiobooks because I really feel like I get really into deep in their life on stage and off stage, whatever entertainer or person of interest that we're talking about.
You have like an Audible subscription or anything? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing that, but I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I keep buying them on Google Books individually.
I finally did it. I wanted one of those subscriptions for years for Christmas. I never got one. I finally bought one for myself.
Okay.
And I don't regret it for a second.
Okay.
However, I will say that right now I have 7. You get a credit every month. I got 7, so I'll go through modes of not using it, and then I'll use it for 6 months. You know what I mean? So, anyway, it's a valuable resource to me. So anyway, I started doing Chet Atkins. I didn't find very much on Chet Atkins except for old videos of him, like on very old, some of the original country talk shows or CBN or 700 Club. Right. You know, the old Christian talk shows, old Southern hee-haw, that kind of thing. There really wasn't a lot new that I found that I could learn much from him. This is what I learned about Chet Atkins. Extremely good guitar player.
Right.
That's about all I know about Chet Atkins. Extremely good. And we started talking about him because we were talking about a finger picker guitar player. And what he does is he uses a thumb pick, and then he uses the rest of his fingers. And he's a kind of like a classical guitarist, if you will, right? A classical guitarist, Chris, will look you in the eye, and their fingers are going everywhere. Boom, boom, boom. They're not going, they're not making, their face is not really expressing what their emotions might be going through.
It's a very disciplined way of playing the guitar.
It is, because you're going to be in operas and things like that, and you're going to be featured. It's a hoity-toity kind of a thing, if you will. I love classic guitar, and he's kind of like that. Man, I don't know if anybody is I don't know if you can say there's a better guitar player than Chet Atkins. He has influenced so many people that we would look at today and go, man, he's one of the best guitar players in the world. Who's your influence? Chet Atkins for sure.
Right.
Very famous in the guitar world, in the music world, in the country world. But flamboyant is not something you would
No.
use to describe Chetty Atkins.
And
you
see,
know?
that's part of the reason I like him.
Right, I'm sure.
Because
Yeah.
he's very like muted.
Yep.
You know, he's like almost infinite talent.
Yeah.
But he doesn't let it like come through in his personality.
He certainly doesn't.
Yeah. It's more like, this is just what I like to do.
This is what I like to do.
This is how I'm gonna spend all of my time.
Yep, I do this in the garage.
Yep.
And I found out that millions of people like the way I do it. So
Right.
I'm going to show you what I do. I'm not going to change it at all. I'm not going to change what I do, how I do it. And man, he was so good. But I just wasn't able to learn much about him.
You might
to
want
send
to
you some
try
resources.
YouTube and look up some of the old Porter Wagner.
Yeah, that's that. I saw
You
some
know,
Porter Wagner
okay,
stuff.
yeah, I didn't know.
But it was all like that.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't anything. I watched interviews of his.
Yeah.
You know, learned a little bit about him. Not a whole lot about him, but
And he doesn't talk much in his interviews either.
And he's very muted in his interview.
Yes.
His voice is not dynamic at all. You know,
Right.
and I understand that's the way you like it, and I like him too because of that. But when you're trying to learn more about him,
Right.
it's in a 7-day period.
Yeah, he wasn't the kind of celebrity that most artists and musicians are.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was he was probably around in the late 50s, 60s, 70s,
Right.
80s. He was around for a while.
Yeah.
Grew to be a good old age. And more power to him. It was just difficult finding out, you know.
He wasn't a charismatic
no
person like a lot of them are.
Right. And that's why a lot of people liked him. And
Yeah.
I like him too. I will just appreciate him and put him. I'm sure he's in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Probably,
so, yeah.
probably in a lot of Hall of Fames, Guitar Hall of Fame, that kind of thing. Wonderful, wonderful guitar player. Influenced more people than I think we could even mention on here. So, I honor him and appreciate his talent. However, what I did find out yesterday or day before, I think it was yesterday, was Linda Ronstadt's 80th birthday. 80th. I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about that. But for a second, and this is why I cut you off, Chris, whenever we started having our pre-log that we do whenever we come in here. Don't y'all love it whenever people tell you how you should feel? Chris, you should feel. I can't believe you're not reacting to this. You should feel. Did you see the way that guy cut you off? You should feel horrible about that. You should go up there and you should do something about it. Well, this week, was it Tuesday? Mm-hmm. It was Tuesday. We had Blue Angels. We're here in Pensacola, Florida, and whenever you hear somebody, boy, Pensacola. Whenever you hear them say Pensacola loves their Blue Angels, hey, you could say that if you want to. That's a very easy, general way of saying
Right.
it. We have a passion about our Blue Angels.
It's part of our identity.
It is. Anything, a lot of things. If you're going to make a poster of Pensacola and what it represents, you better believe there's going to be a Blue Angel on there.
Yep.
There's going to be the lighthouse on there. There's probably that sign that you helped engineer,
Yep.
the Pensacola Beach sign.
Yep. Probably
That-
the beach ball water tower.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Those things. But if Blue Angels is not on there, anybody from Pensacola is going to say,
Yeah.
why is it that Blue Angels? That's our identity.
Right.
This, there's a plane. What number, Chris, goes over your house?
Number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6 goes over Chris's house every Wednesday or every Tuesday.
Oh yeah, he's 200 feet off the top of my house and it rattles the windows, and I don't care. I love it.
I know Chris's bird. I don't want to say cowers, but what does Lou do whenever
He hears him coming. He goes and gets in his cage and goes. Oh, he looks. He's never going.
What's going?
What the
What's
heck is
happening?
that?
What's happening? And every time, if you're at a stoplight or something, you'll see them before you hear them.
Yes.
That's just the way it is. And you'll see everybody at stoplight going like this. Even if you're stopped in the middle of the road, nobody's going to blame you for stopping and looking at the light.
Right.
I was putting gas in my car the other day, and I think I mentioned this before. I was leaning up against the car, putting gas in the car, and I saw 4 of them coming around in formation. They just came right to my left, and I I looked over, I saw them, and I sat there still pumping gas, didn't move a muscle. They just came over in formation, man. It was just beautiful.
It's the coolest thing.
And I thought,
because you're just
where else?
Yeah, you're just like having your having a regular day, just whatever, and then all of a sudden, these like world renowned pilot aces, whatever, just come through in formation, fly over you and disappear again. It's like, man, that is just so cool.
And we've all bought in, haven't we?
Oh, I totally have.
We bought into ownership. You know what I mean? That's our Blue Angels.
Yeah.
That's what we say. It's our Blue Angels.
And you can compare it to like the city where like the what was the Army's? I think the F-16s, Thunderhawks.
The Air Force is in Colorado. The Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds.
They're out of Colorado.
Okay, yeah, and like my grandparents when they were alive, they lived in Colorado. My mom still does now, and like I've seen the Thunderbirds a lot, but I don't know. There's something about just the silhouette and the colors of the Blue Angel F-18 Hornets. They're just beautiful.
They're aesthetically very beautiful. That blue, I call it Blue Angel blue. I mean, it should be called
actually
Blue Angel
it
blue.
is called Blue
Angel blue. Yes.
It's very difficult to capture in a photograph. You have to. I've caught one or two in a photograph, but still you have to tweak it a little bit because the way the sun hits it, it makes it look all dark.
Right.
But if you get the sun hitting it right, it doesn't do it justice not to bring it up to where it needs to be in post photography. You know what I mean?
Actually, one of my very good friends, his wife, her dad used to paint the Blue Angels. The plane before they put the one up at the airport. Now the jet that's up there now at the entrance of Pensacola Airport, the one that was there before was the last plane he painted before he retired.
I mean, he painted the plane himself?
He was the plane. Yeah, he painted the planes.
How about that?
He was one of the Blue Angels painters.
Cool. How about that? Boy, wouldn't it be nice to put a little bucket of paint to the side and go.
It's very controlled.
Paint my room blue. Anyway, so this is, what's the date today?
The
18th of July, 2026. The week before this, if you were watching any type of TV, any type of news, listen, ABC can just smooch my fanny, man. I am just.
I've never heard it put that way.
ABC, listen, David Muir, is that his name? David Muiron, whatever.
Him,
he does the. I'm sure he's a great bro. I don't know. I'm sure he's good at what he does. And I've always been intrigued. You like the way I said that?
we have a new way of saying that.
Like this is Dester's way of saying, I can't stand
That's
this
exactly
guy.
right. Usually the stories post presentation for the half hour, whatever he does an intriguing story about a dog saving a life of the owner, something like that, right? Or a missing person, and it's very dramatic. Pensacola, Florida.
Oh yeah,
and he does one of these. He does one of these close call in Pensacola. Low flyby, people are screaming.
Terror, yeah,
and it shows.
Right.
And everybody's like, chairs. This is no lie. Chairs start flying around. The covers, to make shade, they're flying around. They're showing all of that as if it's a disaster.
Right. Like this has never happened before on Pensacola Beach.
It happens every flipping air show they do on the beach.
That's why people go to that spot because I want my chair to fly away. This is so awesome.
To be intimately involved in the reality of a low flyby or Blue Angels at all, and then seeing how the fake news, boy, I use that term extremely appropriately. Seeing how the fake news twists it. How many other times have our media taking something that is totally benign or totally opposite of the way, and then they take it and they present it in a certain way? You can't trust anybody representing.
It's ratings.
It's that. It upset me. It upset everybody in Pensacola.
Yeah.
If you're local, I'm sure you won't see this
'Cause
nationally.
everyone hears out on the beach yelling like lower.
Yeah, that's right. If you've been, if you're local here, you'll see interviews with the pilot, and even the local news goes up to the pilot and go, "Hey man, carry on."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Carry on, buddy. Carry on. Number 6, is that who it was?
He was the number 5 or 6.
Number 5 or 6.
He was one of the tailplanes. Yeah.
There's nothing better.
Right.
There is nothing better. Disasters can happen.
Oh yeah.
Of course, disasters do happen. This was not that.
Right.
This was not close to that. This was not anywhere near that. It was exhilarating. It was awesome. It was almost an everyday occurrence.
I think the reason though that it got the press that it did was the week before they had the Apache helicopters from doing a low fly on the beach somewhere up, I think, in the Carolinas. And they suspended all these pilots because they made the prop wash come down and onto the water. And it was like, they were terrifying everybody. And it was 6 Apache helicopters flying along, weren't causing really any problem. They were doing a low fly, pass by. Everybody seemed to love it. But like I said, when you kind of cut me off, San Francisco, they can't fly anybody there anymore because that's those death machines from the military industrial complex and all that. And I would say just drop a couple of nukes on San Francisco. Be done with it.
It just overwhelmed me this weekend. I'm going to live my life. It's not a big deal. But I just feel like the little platform that we have people listening from out of state.
Right.
Of course, we have Cindy and Buddy and people in Mississippi. And I think there's other states, too, that people are listening. It's nothing like that here.
Yeah.
It is. Rest
assured, we're all fine.
We're all fine. Hey, if I knew exactly where the next low fly would be, I would stand directly under it. And I would put my arms out like this. I'd see if I could high five the pilots when they came by. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just one of those things that we're proud of, and we take offense to somebody saying we should be offended by that, and that's basically what they said.
Yeah.
We should be careful of those daggone Blue Angels, man. Ooh, watch out!
Oh yeah. Well, it was the same thing several years back when they had some of the storms. About the fake news. The reporters actually standing almost like looks like they're waist deep in water.
Oh yeah, and someone just starts walking.
Somebody starts walking behind them, and they realize they're kneeling down on the ground to make it look bad and horrible.
Hilarious.
And that's the news we have. It's all about ratings. It's all about terrifying people. I've turned the news off now.
I love it. Yeah, I don't watch it. The only news I get would just whatever happens to come up on my feed. Really, I just can't stand to sit and watch a half hour of anything like that. So anyway, all right. Anything y'all want to add? Anything to Blue Angels
nope.
situation? Okay,
go Blues.
Right. Linda Ronstadt,
flying Blues.
Yes, absolutely. Linda Ronstadt turned 80 this week.
Yeah,
she's 8 years younger than my mother.
Okay,
and that puts it in perspective, brother. She's 80 years old, and she's been diagnosed with a certain type of Parkinson's that has prevented her from being able to sing. She's had to retire from singing, but I'm going to go over some highlights and then turn it over to Joshy Washy.
Okay.
But Linda Ronstadt in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, April 10th, 2014. Let's see. Her career was up until started in 1967 with the Stone Ponies, and went to 2011. Remember, she had to retire because of medical reasons. 44 years. She would have surpassed 50 years had she not been ill. Solo career started around the 70s, and if in the 70s, so think about what was happening with the Grateful Dead and at Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco. She was involved with all that stuff. She knew everybody during that time. I'm not sure what her relationship was with the Grateful Dead, but with the Rolling Stones, she did collaborations with Rolling Stones and did some of their songs. She sang backup on some of the Rolling Stones songs. She did rock, pop, country, jazz, Latin, and opera. Before she did her Latin album, her record people said, "This is going to ruin your career." She said, "We'll see." And she did it. She was one of those people that could tell the record people what she was going to do.
Yeah.
The record people didn't tell her what she was going to do. They tried, but she was one of those strong women back then that said, well, that's fine. I'm good. If it ruins it, I put out a Latin album because I want my people to have an album of me singing. Mm-hmm. That's pretty awesome if you ask me. You know what I mean? She's somebody who did things for the good of doing them, for what she thought was the best thing to do. She also was very good at spotting talent. She was integral in getting the Eagles together. Y'all have heard of the Eagles?
Yeah, they were all part of the same group at one time.
Yep. She, two of them toured with Linda Ronstadt, and she said, "Man, y'all are good together. You should start a band. Mm-hmm. And these other guys over here, you should be put with these guys. Y'all start a band." And the Eagles formed.
Yeah. Didn't they weren't they one of the groups that spoke when she was inducted into the the Hall of Fame? Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. She had a breakthrough hit with the Stone Poneys with Different Drum, and if you hear her sing Different Drum in like '67. A little bit of a different voice. She does more of a Stevie Nicks type of vibrato in her voice, but you could tell that there was something special about her, even back then. She was Dean Queen of Rock in the 70s. Get this now. In 1977, her album Simple Dreams knocked Elvis Presley off the top of the charts. And if I remember right, I read it wasn't because he's been at the charts for a while. It was just he hit the top of the charts, and Linda came along and went. She just outsold Elvis.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, hold this while I do this. She's certainly one of the pioneers of rock. She was the first woman to sell out arenas. Now you got to understand how it was back in the day. Arenas were mostly,
excuse me,
mostly people like. Later on the Eagles, but at the time, Queen and maybe Queen a little bit later, but Rolling Stones, bands like that, they were the ones selling out the arenas. There weren't any female lead bands that were selling out arenas. She was the first one to require arenas to sell the tickets that were demanded. Like I said, pop, rock, Broadway, award winner, get this, 11 Grammy Awards, 3 American Music Awards, 2 Academy of Country Music Awards, and an Emmy. Wow. That's every kind of entertainment you can think about, isn't it? She's won awards. She got to the top on anything that she did. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2014. Collaborations with, you love this one, Josh, Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris.
I was just going to say, some of my favorite videos of her are of those. There's 2 or 3 songs that I look up, that I've looked up several times on YouTube because I like them so much. One of them is, I was trying to look them up again here. One of them was an old Carter Family song, "Bury Me Beneath the Willow Tree."
Oh yeah.
And then another one, "My Dear Companion."
Okay.
But it's the 3 of those. I love the harmony of those 3: Dolly Parton, Emmylou Harris, and Linda Ronstadt.
I heard Dolly Parton say, "She gets on my nerves. She can sing anything."
Yes.
I heard Dolly Parton say.
Yep. And it's funny, the one YouTube video where they're singing "My Dear Companion," it was on Dolly Parton's show, because she used to have like a variety show or whatever
it was
a while back. Yeah. And so they were talking a little bit before they started singing, and Linda Ronstadt's like, "Yeah, I just finished an album entirely in Spanish." and talked about it for a little bit. It's really neat.
Nice. That's that album that I was talking about.
Yeah.
They did 3 albums together, a trio of albums. In the interview I saw with Dolly Parton, she said, as soon as we sat down, we started singing. She said, magic. It's just one of those career-defining moments, she said, that with these 3 voices together, yes, they're good together alone, but together, she said, it's something, Dolly saying it's something I've never heard before or since.
It's weird because there's got to be some sort of biological element to it, because just the way the anatomy of how their voices have been put together in their bodies. I don't know. The frequencies work really well together.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's something scientific about it that makes it work.
Right.
If you look at a readout or something, you go, well, yeah, that's why it works. The tenor, the timbre, whatever it is. She was instrumental in getting the Eagles going on with Don Henley and Glenn Frey, the 2 I was talking about.
Yep.
Retired in 2011 due to Parkinson's disease, later diagnosed as progressive supranuclear palsy. So, to my knowledge, that's a specific type of Parkinson's, which left her unable to sing. It's like a cyclist being diagnosed with something to do with balance. That's what it's like. Not being able to sing anymore. Lifetime honors, National Medal of Arts, Kennedy Center Awards. So that's one of those. Whenever you see somebody sitting up in the balcony and they have this big medal around their neck, red, and people come and sing some of their songs. And many times it's highlights on YouTube and other places. She was honored in that way. She was just a very special person in the way she carried herself. In the 70s, what's it called? Something about a couch. Whenever a woman, the reputation back in the 70s of producers and things like this is like, if a woman comes in, they can get more things that they want if they sleep with the producers and sleep with the people that are on top, right?
Yeah,
the casting couch.
Casting couch. Yeah. That's right. Thank you, Chris. It's funny that you know. So, sorry. Yes, exactly right. The casting couch. And Linda.
Destry's figuring, I can't remember the name of
I know.
this.
I don't know.
This is not the world I frequent.
It's totally foreign to me. But I saw an interview with Linda walking down the beach, talking, and she said, it's funny that it's such a, patriarchal society within music that men expect you to give up. She was being very tactful. Tactful. Thank you. Men expect you to give up certain parts of yourself in order for you to gain things. She said, I'm just not willing to do that. It's just something that we need to change. This was in the 70s. Man. Whenever she was talking against, this stuff that was happening, like the Epsteins and things, exactly.
That Me Too movement.
Yeah.
That was,
And that stuff needed to change. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're a woman coming into, like Linda, she came with a lot of, it didn't take her long to bring a lot of power behind her. So whenever she walked into somewhere where she was presenting something she wanted to do, or somebody called her in for something, it wasn't like any other woman going in there that didn't know people. She first of all, she had the attitude, she had the looks, she had the capability, and she had people behind her going, yes, she's not like any other woman that you have ever dealt with. You're not going to get anything by doing what you're used to doing. So
yeah. This is her world.
This is her world. If you want to get on board with it, fine. That's fine. But she didn't seem to be cocky about it either, just who she was.
Just a matter of fact.
But this is what I find interesting about it. We would not agree on hardly anything politically. We wouldn't agree on anything socially, probably, except for music and that type of thing. But you got to look at somebody like her and go, man, I dig her vision, her stick-to-itiveness, her passion for things. I'm not going to vote for, who did she date? A Republican, Democratic for president guy. I can't remember. She dated him for like 3 years. And
Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown, thank you. Man, you got a good memory. Jerry Brown. And she would on the campaign trail for him and stuff like that. And, there's no way that we would agree on much. But I sure would sit and listen to her sing, man, and talk to her and get to know her.
That's how a lot of these different musicians and stuff are.
Yeah.
Like, all the people that we've talked about over the past several months to a year or whatever. Socially, politically, ideologically, not aligned.
Yep.
Hardly at all. But that's different than the musical talent or the artistic talent that they have.
Yep, it is. It is, and it's not like that these days. It seems like one is the same,
right?
Doesn't it? It just seems that way. But anyway,
if you're going to have the attention of people, you have to toe the line that is fed to you by either the media or the whatever's popular today. And if you don't, then you're not a legitimate artist either.
Right. That's
and
right.
I don't like that. That's one of the questions that kind of comes up. Especially in this area, because we're Christians. We want to do what the Bible says. We have a relationship with God, all this stuff. And sometimes the question is, well, why are you listening to this product from an artist that's obviously not in the same camp you are? And it's that same sort of answer where, yes, but there's still talent there.
Yep.
And there's still a product that has a lot of value to it.
Right.
Even though I might not. I mean, honestly, there's no other single person in the world that I agree with 100% on anything. I don't agree with myself 100% on everything. My own beliefs are constantly evolving.
Right.
So, if I were to apply the same rule, I couldn't listen to anything that I did yesterday.
Right.
Because something about my beliefs has changed since then.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to at least some degree to separate the ideology of the person from the talent that they have. Now, I know there's exceptions to that rule as usual, but in general, I don't like to mix the politics of the person with the quality of their artistic talent.
And sometimes it's easier to do that than others.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly why that is.
Well, especially in different artistic venues, right? Because, most, Bible believing Christians will have no problems visiting an art museum.
Right.
And looking at paintings and sculptures and stuff like that, even though those artists were probably worse in a lot of cases than some of the musical artists that we would consider to be, valuable or entertaining. But for some reason it doesn't. It's it doesn't apply to that medium of art.
Right.
It applies to the medium of music.
Yes. Although I will say this, it sure is good to find somebody that is a Christian that is a really good artist also. And I say artist in a very loose way.
Well, it's because there's an additional line of connection.
Yes,
that person is I not only like your artistic talent, but man, you as a person and what you stand for.
Yep.
That aligns with me too. It's it almost makes me like their music more.
It does.
Yeah,
because you want to
have a connection.
Yeah, you want a connection. That's right. And AI can't give you that. Thank you. That's my AI speech for the day. As far as connecting with people, this week, for some reason, I started getting into WNBA, women's basketball. And these days, you can't even mention anything about WNBA without the name Caitlin Clark coming up. And I started watching some of her stuff and seeing how daggone talented she is. My gosh, she's such a great basketball player, man. Unreal. And I got intrigued in her, and I started learning a little bit about her off the court. I think I'm going to do a segment on her. I'm going to do something on Caitlin Clark and just bring some numbers and things that blows anything that anybody's ever seen out of the water, including Michael Jordan's influence on basketball in relation to women's basketball. Her to women's basketball as Michael is to regular men's basketball.
Okay.
But I also found out she's a Christian. I didn't find that out until like 2 days afterwards. I had to look for it.
Yeah.
Because she's not an evangelical Christian. She doesn't really talk. There's some hints and things like that, but not so much. It's not so much out front. She's raised Catholic. All right. And whenever I found that, I went, nice. Honestly, I'm just saying, one on our side. You know what I mean? That's one on our side. Awesome. What a great influence. You know. I'm just being honest. That's the way it is. You know. And her teammate, I can't remember her name right now. She just got baptized at the beginning of 2000 this year, and she's more of an outspoken Christian. Like, man, I just love that whole.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those two women on that team will absolutely have an influence on everybody else because they're the two top players. One from talent and one from being charismatic and playing the way she plays and speaks the way she speaks. Those are the two commercially viable and commercially successful and two of the best players on the team. They will absolutely have, even on the coach, they'll have an influence because of the post play speech and the way they carry themselves and everything. And what I liked about it is that they're not demure. They're going, oh, that's okay. You know, like most people think of Christians, I can foul her because she's a Christian. She has to forgive me. No. That's not the way they play.
Yeah.
Caitlin was getting fouled and she wasn't getting any calls. And her I can't remember her name. She became the enforcer. Mm-hmm. It was okay for her to come. You know, hockey has real enforcers, right? They come in and they take care of people they need to take care of. They're in for like 30 seconds. Okay, make that guy bleed. And that's what he does, and that's what he gets paid to do. You know what I mean?
Spend the rest of the night in the box.
That's what he does. That's what I'm hired to do. That's kind of what this girl is. Although she, not Caitlin, but her friend, her teammate, but she can also hit 3 points like there's no tomorrow and play under the basket and do other things. So she's even more valuable. She's the enforcer. It's okay if she gets fouls, and she will blatantly foul if somebody messes with Caitlin because you want to keep Caitlin in there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we have other people who can play this other position. I'm sure the coach doesn't say, hey, go in there and take, but that's what happens. It's awesome,
I'm going to put you in. If you happen to break the leg of such and such player.
Sophie Cunningham. That's her name.
Oh, okay.
Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham. Now, all you got to do is just search Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. There's one thing that happened, I think it was last year or beginning of this year, that started this whole thing. They just got tired of being picked on. Yeah. They were absolutely being picked on. Anyway, so I'm going to do some stuff on them, and I think y'all will enjoy it. If you haven't watched the WNBA, it's worth watching.
I have not watched any of the BAs.
None of the BAs.
Yeah,
Basketball Association. None of them. It's one of the reasons it's fun is because the audiences are right on the court. Mm-hmm. Some of the audiences, at least with the WNBA, they're sitting right like it's a high school game. Right. You know what I mean? Right on the court. So you can get up close and personal. But anyway, all right, that's all I got, man.
When I was a freshman back in 1997 in college, I went to a couple of college basketball games with friends, you know, and it was fun. You know, it was a bunch of friends, and we're just acting like idiots and, you know, whatever. And then my sophomore year came, and my goodness, you know, the engineering program, that's when I really started getting a lot of homework assignments and, you know, spending like several hours a night on any given subject. And I just never had time for basketball games or any of that stuff again. It was just like the next 3 years, I'm just in my room doing homework.
That's all you're doing. And loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It was, because, I ended up really loving it. Yeah. Now, granted, there were times when I really needed breaks, but...
You had to force yourself, right? Mm-hmm.
My wife and daughter even tell me, like, My wife's almost kind of jealous sometimes. She'll say like, you were meant to be an engineer and you knew that when you were 3 years old.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just kind of, she's like, you just are an engineer.
It's a lot like a musician, a guitar player, a singer. I've always wanted to be an entertainer, right? I've always wanted to be this. I've always wanted to be that. You hear that a lot with people in the arts. And engineering is your art. So you were blessed enough to know exactly what you want. You're created on.
Well, it's funny though, because going into my freshman year of college, I didn't know what engineers did. I just knew my favorite topics in high school were math and sciences, and engineering does both of those.
Yeah.
And so I just went into engineering, and then after I was already in it, I'm like, oh wow, this stuff is really pretty stinking cool. And pretty much every topic I encountered in engineering was, wow, this is amazing. Wow, this is amazing. Wow, this is even more amazing. So
it almost came natural to you, everything that was
the interest came naturally.
Okay.
The success didn't. Courses like thermodynamics and heat transfer and automatic control systems. I mean, I struggled quite a bit in all those. Yeah, that's why I had to spend so much time studying and all that stuff, is because they're really, really difficult subjects.
Your love for engineering reminds me of Chris's love for people. Like he's the social part of
getting the look right about now.
He just loves people.
He just loves people watching. He goes to the mall and just soaks in everybody's energy, especially the woke crowd. He loves those guys.
Always the life of any party he's in.
He loves
just the social
This
butterfly.
is Big Old Chris morning, right? Okay.
It's just natural.
But then, there was also the thing. I was really interested in. I don't know why we're getting on this.
It's a free flow.
Yeah, interested in worldviews, and engineering I saw as a way of learning how the universe worked without being indoctrinated in a worldview. Because engineers really don't care about how it all got here. We just want to know how it works, so we can make really cool stuff.
Okay.
So knowing how it worked afforded me the opportunity to derive my own conclusions about how it all got here.
Okay.
And so I found that really valuable as well.
Here's what I like about having two engineers that are close friends.
That's something you don't hear often.
It's not. It's very unique.
My wife doesn't even say that.
So I had a battery stuck in a camera because the smart person that I am, Chris, I stored it with the battery in, and that's just camera 101. You don't store a camera. You don't store anything with the batteries in. You take it out. But I did. I didn't even know that I did this. So, and it was a Fuji camera. Fuji cameras are made to look and operate like the old cameras. Mm-hmm. And every now and then I go through the mode I just want to use an old camera, right? You understand that, Chris? I want to use a DSLR. I want to use something back in the day instead of a new computer. I want to use an old computer. I want to do it myself. I want to manually create this stuff. So I got the Fuji out. I couldn't get the battery out. My first thought was, I'm going to bring it to Chris or I'm going to bring it to Josh, and they will know how to get this battery out. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I know that they will do it, and darn sure did. I brought it up here, and you left it for you, and you got it out. It was out. I was driving home after dropping it off, and he texted me, got your battery out. It was like 10 minutes after I left it here, and I spent at least 3 hours trying to figure out how to do it. So that's why I like having engineering friends.
That's how engineers get most of their friends, to be honest. Is like someone needs something figured out. I know this one guy.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a good friend of mine now.
Well, even Donna says around her house, you think Chris or Josh can figure this out? I said, I think so. That's how I get things done.
Donna, I'm still working on your clocks. My wife has got me in the middle of a remodel project.
I told her.
Well, the irony is, it's like that, physician heal thyself type thing.
Yeah.
Like there's tons of projects at my house that I need to do, and I just don't because
Right.
I'm always doing other stuff.
Right. Sure.
It's like our own stuff usually gets knocked to the bottom of the priority list. And,
right.
You know, that's a problem. But, you know,
But
that's what it is.
it is the truth, because there's things that I'll need to be broken around my house. I'll fix something somewhere else, and then I'll turn around and go, you know, I bought that whatever 4 years ago to fix it. And
Yeah.
it's still sitting in a box. Let me go fix it, and I'll
Yeah.
go pull it out. And then 6 months later, I'll finally get around to
Right,
it. So,
sure.
Yep. The cobbler's children have no shoes.
That's right. I found a camera yesterday. By the way, in thrift stores, it's rare to find cameras these days. Found one yesterday, like you and I already have. It's one of the old Kodak, not double lens, but it was just a
The reflex.
the reflex cameras. And any other time I picked it up and went, yep, all right. Walked around and I thought, first of all, it's not perfect. It has fungus on the lens, but I know you've cleaned mine up before.
Yeah.
It looks perfect. I thought, man, I need another camera. Then I started looking at it going, I want to rescue this thing, you know?
Yeah.
I started assigning, feelings to this thing. I mean, I can see
I know
it,
how it is.
you know, I'm
Yeah.
going like, man, this deserves to be rescued and to be somewhere instead of on a thrift store. I thought, how many cameras do I have? 1, 2, 3. I can't tell you how many cameras I have. I've just got so many, and I ended up not getting it. It's $5.99, and I don't feel good about it. I might go back and get it today, but I'm not ever going to fix it. I'll bring it to you. You know what I mean? And say, can you get it fixed? But I'm never going to do it.
So I identify with this sentiment so much because, like, even today, later this afternoon, I'm going to be driving to Crestview to a thrift store and picking up a table from someone on Facebook Marketplace.
Are you?
And this specific table, it's like kind of a drafting table, but the entire top of it is like inscribed with all these mathematical tables.
Oh,
like
cool.
back in the days before calculators, when you had to, solve sine, cosine, and tangent from a table of values because you didn't have a calculator, press a button, or like logarithms or whatever. It's a table where the entire top just has that stuff printed on it.
How about that? That's
And
cool, Josh.
it's called a science table.
Okay.
And I saw it on Facebook Marketplace, and it's old. It's got some rust on it and everything, but like I can tell this has just been ignored because it's just been in a warehouse forever, and they're just trying to clear it out. And it's one of those things where it's like, man, this is such an important piece of furniture,
Right.
in the history of engineering and math and drafting and science and all this kind of stuff. It's like, I want to give it a good home.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to be bringing it here.
But that's the one you don't see a lot of those.
No, you don't.
You know what I mean? You don't have a lot of those.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, a buddy of mine the other day, a group of friends and me are in this group chat thing online, Discord chat, and every now and then he'll post something. This buddy of mine will post something from Facebook Marketplace that he finds interesting, or like, hey, it's like sarcastically, we should get this, like a $10,000 robotic arm or something like that. Well, the other day he posted that from Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, the table?
Yeah, the table.
Okay.
And I started laughing. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I was just talking to the lady who's selling that yesterday. I'm driving to Crestview Saturday to get it.
And you're getting it. Fantastic. Good. That sounds good, man. You going to put it in the office here somewhere?
I have no
You
idea.
don't know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
I'm just rescuing it right now. I'll
Right.
figure out the details later.
I'll still get a one-off piece if I find something that I've never seen before. I think one of the last things I bought in a thrift store was a 300 millimeter prime lens for a film camera. I don't know if you've
you
seen
showed
it.
me,
It's,
the
it's
big
like this big black lens prime. I've never seen one before. I've never seen one since, and it was like $20. I had to get it.
Yeah.
Because it's a one-up. It works. There
Yeah.
wasn't any fungus in it. Are you kidding me? This thing? People are selling for $300 online. I'll still get stuff like that if it's unique.
Yep.
But I have to walk away from a regular old whatever. You know what I mean? Like that camera.
Yeah, I've noticed so recently when JDL and I have gone to thrift stores, I've stopped in a thrift store. There's not as much stuff in general in the stores anymore. You used to go walk in, you'd find the bits and pieces and bobs and things like that. And especially the ones that are here locally near us, they're getting really sparse, period.
Yeah. I wonder if it has to do with more people shopping in thrift stores or the thrift stores being more thrifty about what they put on the shelves. I think I told y'all before about I saw one of the bigger thrift stores here in town. I was leaving, and I saw a guy at one of the many garbage bins that they had, looking at a box going like this. He was just looking at the box, and he was throwing stuff away. I can't help but think, what this guy that really probably doesn't know what he's doing. He's just getting paid something or volunteering. He's just throwing stuff away that doesn't look like would sell. And I'm thinking, what is going in that trash?
And he may have no knowledge of what it is.
No knowledge of what it is, but they're being more picky because they simply don't have the room to put on their shelves everything that comes in. I went back I don't know how many years ago, whenever I was really into thrifting, I went and I asked, do y'all have any more cameras? Somebody in the back that was standing behind the counter, and a manager was standing right there. She said, no, this is the only thing we have. He said, well, I'm just about to throw away a whole box of cameras. Do you want me to take them out? I said, yeah. He brought out a box of cameras. I got 6 or 7 of them that were in this box that he was about to sell. He sold them to me for like $1.99 a piece. They were all going to be thrown away. Now, this was back whenever I would get almost any camera, that existed. Yeah. But there's no telling how much stuff just goes to the waste.
Yeah, it's sad in a way too, because we're losing that connection to the past.
Yeah,
and that's a challenge for me too, because I've mentioned before I collect old textbooks, like math and science textbooks, and even those, like I've found recently, I have to walk away from some because I have so many like algebra textbooks.
Okay.
I don't need more, and it's hard because I still see an old algebra textbook that has notes from the person who owned the book in it or whatever, and like I want to. I'm assigning it a personality as well, and I want to. I want to rescue it and give it home. It's like, but I have so many of them. But I'll still get like the old physics books or calculus books or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's just something about like having that connection to the past, especially a past that has been so influential.
Right.
Like, all these old like engineering textbooks or, whatever. It's like, this is what built modern society.
Right.
And so there's an importance to it. It kind of goes back to, it's the same feeling like, in our small group, how we've been spending a lot of time studying biblical history.
Yep. Fun stuff too, Josh. Fun stuff.
It's incredible. And it's different than going through the Bible in like the usual way we do as Christians, where we're like, let's read this passage, figure out an application, some spiritual, message, whatever, and and talk about that and use that as a basis for devotions. It's not like that.
That has value.
Yeah, it definitely does have value. But I think if that's all we do, we lose part of what of what's in Scripture, because these were real people and real events and real places in the world that dealt with real problems just like we deal with today.
Right.
Even on a global scale.
I bet some people back then, they had toe fungus. I bet they did.
Oh, 100%.
Don't you think, Chris? They had toe fungus.
And
Ingrown toenails.
But not tofurkey. That's a modern contrivance. That's of the devil, I think. But
anyway, I'm sorry. Anytime I get a chance to put in toe fungus, I love to do it.
Well, so I think there's a depth to Scripture that's often unexplored.
Yeah.
That still has the same results about, like, there's a practical application here. There's something we can learn about the nature of God, and our relationship with respect to Him, and all that kind of stuff, our position with respect to Him. But it's exploring it in a different way. And what we've been talking about lately is the time between the Testaments.
Yeah.
The time between Malachi and Matthew.
Quote, the silent years.
Yes. And that silence was something that the Jewish people were obviously struggling with. Mm-hmm. And we've been going through the books of Maccabees for the past couple weeks, not because we're claiming that they're scripture, but they're still historical. Like the history of the Jewish people that happened during the time of the book of Maccabees is extremely important. Mm-hmm. It flavors a lot of the events that happen in the New Testament, because the New Testament was not very long after the events that happened in the book of Maccabees, and they just, like, when the Roman Empire came in, they ended a dynasty in Judea that lasted for almost 100 years, a Jewish dynasty. And that dynasty started because of the Jewish people's ability to fight off the Greek rulers at the time that were trying to convince them and force them to leave their beliefs, the Hebrew scriptures, all that stuff, and become Hellenized, become Greek in their religion. Mm-hmm. No more sacrificing to the one true God. You worship Zeus and the pantheon of Greek deities, and your temple is no longer dedicated to keeping aspects of the Old Testament law and the Hebrew scriptures. It's now going to be used to sacrifice to the Greek gods, and there is that tension there between those people. And all of this was during a 400-year period where God was not interacting with Israel the way they were accustomed to Him interacting with them. Because in the Old Testament, it was either God's presence on the top of a mountain in fire, talking to them directly, or His presence, the visible evidence of His presence could be seen hovering above the temple for several centuries, or the tabernacle, and they had that, or God speaking directly through His prophets, like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and all them. During the intertestamental period, those 400 quote unquote silent years, God wasn't doing that. Now he left them with passages in like Daniel chapter 11. Daniel pretty much predicts in advance what's going to happen over those 400 years. So they had this sort of inertia, like, we're in this period that God's already told us about, and we've been given things to keep looking for, so that we can measure the passage of time. And then Malachi talks about Malachi responding to something that's happening in the book of Nehemiah. He reminds them at the tail end of the Old Testament. He reminds them, like, there's going to come a prophet at some point in the future that's going to remind you a lot of Elijah, like same ideas or whatever. And he's going to be the one that marks the entrance of the Messiah, or the appearance of the Messiah. He's talking about John the Baptist. Mm-hmm. And so,
J to the B.
J to the B. But so during this 400 years, they have that roadmap to get them through those silent years, as they're like recovering from the Babylonian captivity, the Persian occupation, being conquered by the Greek Empire, the subsequent Seleucid Empire and Ptolemaic Empire, all that stuff, and into the Roman period. They have that roadmap to serve as a guidebook, say, like, here's some benchmarks along the way. But then at the same time, they're still struggling with that absence that they're feeling. And, they're like in Maccabees last week, we were talking about like there's kind of two groups of Jews. There were the ones that were, they were kind of exhausted and worn out. And like it's difficult to remain faithful to the old ways. And we have this new empire here that's putting a lot of pressure on us to to convert to their religion. So we're just going to do that because it's easier. And we're going to become Greek. We're going to start worshiping the Greek gods, and we're going to forsake our own heritage and all that stuff. And even to the point where they were volunteering to come in and start sacrificing to these pagan gods in the temple that was supposed to be dedicated to the one true God. And we're introduced to this guy named Mattathias, who, there were a lot of Jews who were resisting that temptation to convert to Hellenism. And Mattathias was part of that group. And he had 5 sons, which are going to become important later in the book of Maccabees. But Mattathias, he kept reminding them of their history. It's like, remember Abraham and Joseph and David and all these guys from the from our Hebrew scriptures. They remained true to the one true God, and even though there were times in their lives that were difficult and were a struggle because of that commitment, ultimately they all lived very blessed lives, and God blessed them. He took care of them, and it ended up better for them to have struggled to remain true to God than when people didn't. He said, we want to learn from that, and we want to be on the correct side of that, and like challenged and exhorted his brothers, his fellow Jews. We need to remain true to God, and there were a lot that did that. Well, there came this time when the active king at the time, his name was Antiochus IV. His guys came down. It's like, all right, we've been telling you need to convert. Now it's time. We're here. We're going to have you guys start sacrificing to these pagan gods now. And so a lot of Jews came, like, all right, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And Mattathias, in righteous anger, he not only killed the guy who volunteered to sacrifice on that altar, but he also killed the king's messenger that was there to tell people to start sacrificing. And he even had a conversation with the guy, because the king's messenger is like, hey, Mattathias, you're one of the leaders. We'd like you to be the first one to sacrifice, because if you do it, everyone else will fall into place. Mattathias is like, no, I'm not gonna. And so another guy came and was like, well, I'll do it. So Mattathias killed him, killed the king's messenger, and then they ran. And so now there's this conflict between Mattathias and his people, and the king at the time and his people. And so they decided, you know what, these people, they want to remain true to their laws, and they have this strategic weakness where they're not allowed to do any work on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
So we're going to go and we're going to attack them on the Sabbath.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it worked. Absolutely, it worked, because the people who wanted to remain true to the Old Testament law, they're like, we're not going to fight, and they all got killed. And so Mattathias, obviously seeing the strategic flaw in that, said, okay, guys, I get it. We're going to remain true to the law, but we can't just not fight if we're attacked, because the enemy knows we have this law. We're not working on the Sabbath. But
Amendment number 1, Josh.
Right, Amendment number 1, and there was precedent for that. Like the people who marched around Jericho, they marched on the Sabbath.
Right, that's right.
The Sabbath was when they marched the most, and even the precedent, because like Mattathias and his family, they were the family from the priest class. And priests aren't supposed to go to war, according to the Old Testament law. But in Joshua, we do see them doing that.
Okay.
So there's precedent. Like usually when there's an exception to it, there's something that needs to be paid attention to.
Yeah.
But Mattathias here again, he's talking to his fellow Jews. He's like, those other guys, they got slaughtered because they weren't going to fight on the Sabbath. And I get it. It's a real thing. We need to honor the Sabbath, but we also have to realize that we're just going to get wiped out in a couple of weeks because they're just going to keep attacking on the Sabbath if we don't fight back.
What a shame, though. You start thinking about the guys who were honored. They honored the Sabbath,
Right.
And they got killed. And then after that, they said, "Okay, we're going to start fighting."
Right.
I can't.
Well, it goes
What a shame.
to it kind of points us to that passage in the New Testament where the Pharisees at the time they're criticizing Jesus for healing someone on the Sabbath day, and he reminds me, he's
right.
like, man was not made for the Sabbath.
Right.
The Sabbath was made for
Yeah.
man. Like
Yeah.
sometimes there are things that take precedence, and I think that's something that Mattathias realized as well. And so he said, if they're going to attack us on the Sabbath, we are going to fight back.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we are honoring the Sabbath, because it's part of that law. And so they did that, and they were successful in a lot, like mostly successful in their rebellion against the Seleucid king at the time. But at the end of it, at the end of so we did chapter 1 and 2 of First Maccabees, and at the end of chapter 2, Mattathias is on his deathbed, reminding his sons of the example that a lot of the patriarchs in the Old Testament set for them. It's like following that in that path. And he sort of passes the torch. He's like, okay, I have 5 sons. One of them, his name is Judas Maccabeus, who the book of Maccabees is named after him. He's Judah the Hammer. He said,
What a great name.
I know, right?
The Hammer.
The Hammer, Judah the Hammer. He's like, you're gonna be the military leader. And I have this other son named Simon. You're pretty smart. You're gonna be like the council. You're going to have the good advice, the wisdom. So I need you guys to work together and carry on this effort that I've started, where we need to remain true. We need to throw off the authority of this wicked pagan king and his successors that are above us, and we need to remain true. And so that's the beginning of this really big conflict between the Jews and the Seleucid Empire at the time, where they ultimately throw off the Seleucids and are able to institute their own dynasty of kings called the Hasmonean dynasty that lasts for almost 100 years until the Romans come in. But all of this stuff, in the New Testament, you see echoes of that conflict. One is because, Judah the Hammer, he's a pretty popular guy in history. We see a lot of Judahs and Judases and stuff like that in the New Testament because it was really popular to name your kid after this hero.
Why not?
There are a lot of Simons in the New Testament because it was really popular to name your kid after Simon, in Book of Maccabees, and
Right.
Those types of things. And like when Jesus alludes to the celebration of Hanukkah, that event when Hanukkah got created was in the Book of Maccabees, which we'll be getting into in a couple chapters. But a lot of the things that happen in the New Testament make more sense when you realize the historical value of at least the Book of Maccabees, First and Second Maccabees. And so that's what we've been going through. Because here again, like bring this full circle, there needs to be a connection to the past,
Yes.
right? And a lot of times, even as Christians, especially in Protestant circles, we end at Malachi, everything disappears, we start at Matthew, and we don't know anything that happened in between. And the New Testament needs to have a connection not just to the past in the Old Testament, but it needs to have a connection to the past in between the Testaments, because there was a lot of significant stuff that happened in Judea, Idumea, Syria, all that stuff in that span of time, that if you don't know that, you're missing out some of the information that frames the New Testament.
Josh, I wonder how many historians could be ultimately brought to Christ, or at least entertain if you're not a believer and you're a historian, I wonder how many people would at least pique their interest if they studied the Maccabees. You know what I mean? Because what you just said, that's exciting history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody loves to read about the wars of the history and how things came about and how people became into power and things. And some of the names are just so exciting. You know, the Hammer. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You got to be. I mean, that's good
Judah
stuff.
the Hammer, Simon the Zealot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just wonder how that can be used as a tool. Because nowadays, there's I don't know if a lot, but I know there's some pastors and educators are saying don't even worry about that stuff. Don't look at Maccabees. Don't look at the other things.
Yeah. Well, there's kind of an animosity, a long-standing animosity between the Protestants and what Protestants would call not us, the not Protestants, like the Roman Catholic Church and the Orthodox groups and things like that. And you know, in our Bible, we don't consider those books canon of Scripture, and I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I don't think they are either, but they are important historical books. And Martin Luther would even, he said the same thing. Like, these aren't canon, but they're historical. The Orthodox and Catholic, they consider it canon of Scripture. It has a special name called Deuterocanon, which means second canon, but they consider it Scripture in the same sense that Genesis through Malachi is Scripture. And but it wasn't part of the Hebrew Scriptures. It was written during that intertestamental time, and so there's disagreement.
I see.
In whether or not they should be incorporated into the canon of Scripture itself.
Okay.
And I would agree. I don't think they're Scripture, but I do think they're useful history. But the books of Maccabees pick up where the Old Testament left off, because it starts with Alexander the Great and ends with the end of the Seleucid rule of Judea and the beginning of the Hasmonean dynasty, where Jews are self-ruling again. And then the historian Josephus picks up from there and gives a lot of the history of the Hasmonean dynasty up until the Romans conquer the area and throw out the Hasmonean kings. And so, a tremendous amount of stuff that happened there. And I think knowing that doesn't hurt at all. I think
right.
There are Christians who go their entire lives without even touching it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I think you're missing some valuable history there. I think your view of the New Testament will be made richer by knowing it, but that's different than saying that this is also Scripture.
I'd like to start a trend. I'd like to restart the trend of having names for people and then the so-and-so.
The surname, yeah.
Okay, so...
Destry the biker.
There you go. Josh the intellect. Josh the Bible teacher. Josh the...
That's not as cool sounding as like the Hammer.
It's not. We need to come up with something
Josh the
really...
slide rule.
That's right.
Josh the calculator.
The calculator, that's good. I like that, though. It paints a picture, doesn't it? And back in the day, it did reflect, didn't it? It reflected who you were, your personality, or what you did, or whatever, right?
If you think about it, most of our surnames actually come from Smith. You were some type of blacksmith, Red Smith.
There you go.
You have different people. My wife's last name was Eubanks.
Okay.
Well, Eubanks were the people that harvested the yew wood along the rivers.
Oh, nice.
To make wet bows and stuff. So
Okay.
you have to. We have that. It's just we don't know the meaning. We don't know where the meaning comes from anymore.
Right. I gotcha.
Yeah, because my last name is, from what I understand, is an old German word that meant landowner, because all my ancestors were farmers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I wonder what LeBrun means. The Browns. I mean, technically it means the Browns, but
yeah.
Anyway, Josh, I tell you what. From the student's perspective, from Wednesday night at Marcus Point at 6:30 in room 102.
Yep. A102.
A102. we're enjoying that.
Yes.
And I think you've been very strategic about not teaching things to new Christians. Like whenever we have two or three periods in the year where people might come in and visit, and then they go, and you may not know their background. You're not going to bring out a study like this then,
Right?
But with people that you've been teaching, for example, the people that were there last Wednesday, you've known for years and have known you for years. So
Yeah.
you've kind of you've ushered them into knowing what canon means,
Right.
and knowing what's tertiary to the Bible, what's supportive. And you're confident that they are not going to go somewhere and say, "Hey, did you hear about the new books of the Bible?" or
Right.
something like that, right? And what's cool, Chris, is that everybody asks questions, even the most shy and non-talking person. They'll ask a question about something that Josh says, which teaches you're on the right track. You know,
That's always exciting to
Yeah.
me when people start getting engaged in the material.
right. Yep, and they are. So it's really fun. And I haven't been to a lot of the studies, small groups at Marcus Point, but I would put your Bible studies up there with anybody's. Some of them, like history, and what are some of the other studies that Mike teaches, or some other ones?
Yeah, there's stuff about government and
Yeah.
stuff about. We have over 100 small groups that,
Right.
coalesce around all kinds of different ideas. There's
Right.
entrepreneurial classes and
Yeah. But this is
yeah.
a deep dive into the Bible.
Yeah.
We could name it Deep Dive Bible. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it could be very much that. So, on behalf of everybody else, we thank you for that very much. We'll end it there if there's unless there's anything else.
I'm good.
Okay. Chris the Hammer, is there anything else you want to add?
I'm fine.
I think the hammer is appropriate for him, don't you think? Chris the gun owner. Now that's not that he doesn't own any guns.
I don't own any
No,
guns.
that's right. He doesn't own it. They all sunk in that boat wreck that you used to, but you don't anymore.
You're a specific type of hammer. You're a dead blow.
Exactly. Final solution hammer. It hits a nail one time.
All right. Well, but this was episode 126. Did you say that? I'm not even sure if you did.
I think
you did.
so.
Okay, good. Episode 126. We are pro Blue Angels here.
Yes.
We're continue to be pro Blue Angels here, no matter what you hear, no matter what's going to happen. I'd venture to say that that's gone by now, or will be this week. I don't know what the heck. They were talking about investigations. Oh, give me a...
Well, Pete Hegseth, he's already thrown out the helicopter thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's already said, "Nah, you guys are restored." And there's not going to be nobody's going to do anything about the thing on the beach. There's nothing to do anything about.
There's nothing to do anything
Right.
about. That's right. I hope he goes lower next time. And people out there with their kids, they're going to bring their kids out there.
Yep.
Nobody's going to not go out there because of
Hold the kids up.
Yeah. Throw them up. See how close
That might not be a good idea.
Hey, Chris, I'm going to send you a picture of the Blue Angels number 4 that I took on top of the lighthouse less than 2 months ago to show you how close we can get to the blue. To show you, granted, I got a really good camera and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a real picture that I edited, and I just want our viewers to see it. I'll send it to you today.
I'll send a picture of the table that I get.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that. All right, guys and girls, we love you. Thank you very much. Donna, I love you very much. And I'll see you later on today. See y'all next week. Bye.